made my cyclone filter out of a traffic cone. So this is my first instructional video, so bear with me, and gonna be a trial and error thing, so probably will be a lot of edits, so bear with me in the video and we'll get right to it. So first off, you got to get a cone, and I don't have no plans to how I built this. I got a traffic cone. The traffic cone is about 24 inches, I think it was. 29 and a half inch cone that I started out with. I had no plans. I just had it in my head how I wanted to build it. And so the first thing I did, I cut the cone, the foot off. Okay, just to help clear it up how I cut this out. This is your traffic cone, yeah? I just drew it because I'm sorry I didn't film this while I was building it. Just didn't have time. Didn't take time. But traffic cone, like I said, I took it and I'll turn it over. Then I took my my jigsaw. I didn't cut it at this point. I cut it at this point. Yeah. So I cut off the foot on both sides, well, completely around it, and so I just went around the cone like this, you know, with the jigsaw, and so I have the maximum opening at the top, because if you cut it down, it's going to get smaller and smaller. Yeah. So you cut this part off, and so this is missing. But not like this. I cut as I had it standing up, I cut it off around, so I had the foot, the base piece, taking it off because I wanted to keep it as long as possible. And so then I went and measured the inside and the outside of the opening of the cone when you invert it. No? So and then I went and measured. How much did I have here? I measured 3 centimeters. I wanted to have from the outside of the cone to the outside of my my wood here, and I wanted that because I wanted to put these the threaded rods in there with the nuts and bolts, so I'd have place enough to work putting them on, and just strength over everywhere, you know, that is strong enough. And so I actually do that. I cut that off, and then I built it from. Okay, I inverted it. I cut this piece out. I cut it as I think it was 31 centimeters. That would be 35 centimeters. That puts you at 13 3/4 of an inch for mine. Okay. I cut this piece first. Well, I cut first because at first I wanted to make the top and bottom, but I cut this first piece, and then I took a router and cut out a groove that the cone can fit in, and for later I would put silicone in there to make sure it's airtight. And then I started building it from the bottom with it inverted. I started building it from the bottom up, or with it the way it's standing here from the top down. And I got the rods at the hardware store. I measured in at an angle. When I measured, I made the cross 4 centimeters in. Okay, for the top, I cut it out at 35 centimeters squared. All the way around. No, yours might be smaller, it might be bigger, depends on the size of your traffic cone. And I to get the center of the board of this piece, really for every piece, then of course I marked it across. I have the center. Of course, I used my router. I went from this point, made a small pilot hole, and used the router at the distance I needed to, and went around. You know, and sunk it in about a centimeter deep, so the cone could fit into it, with then with silicone to give it a nice tight seal. You know? And then for the threaded rods, I went from every corner. I went in for mine. I remember exactly. I went in 4 centimeters and marked it on every corner, 4 centimeters. You know? And that's where I drilled my my holes for the threaded rods. And of course, I did 4 centimeters on every level of my my filter. So make sure you get that perfectly, whatever dimension you use, because if you use the threaded rods like I did, you're gonna have if you don't have it exactly in the same position, you're not going to be able to get it together, because it's gonna bind. Even I would say make sure you drill the hole a little bit bigger than the threaded rod. And so I would be exactly the same everywhere, at the top and bottom. Then I made for the bottom piece. And later, because the opening at the top of the cone, or at the bottom of the cyclone filter, was pretty small. I didn't want it to take a chance on the sawdust or shavings from whatever getting stopped up in here. So I cut it off a little bit bigger. So this the bottom piece of the wood is normally about this this height, you know. So have a pretty wide opening. So it doesn't take a chance of stuff getting stopped up before it goes into my container. Yeah. So like I said, I think you need about three extra supports, and then you can silicone them as you build it. And then you can keep it cleaner than how mine looks. Like I said, I've used the rods here to keep everything stable and at 90 degrees. Then you can measure it on all 4 points and keep every level. Keep every level parallel with the other levels. No? So you start at one side or the other and go from there. I started at the top and went down because this is the first thing I siliconed into the wood. No? The top piece goes like this. Of course, I routed out so the cone goes in to the top portion. Then I have silicone in there, and then you measure at all 4 corners on every level. You know, if you have 15 centimeters or whatever, 7.5 inches, I don't know. You can do that on in every corner, and keep then every support level will be parallel with the other one. And depending on your collection bin at the bottom, how you mount it, I mean, you silicone it, screw it, and whatever, and you have your cone. That's my just a fast drawing I did. I know it's not perfect. I'm not a professional filmmaker, but that's how I just another example, real fast, on how I did it. Okay, my original plan was, if the inlet, this one is the next size up from the inlet that I have on here now. The inlet I have on here now is about 4 centimeters. It's about 1.5 inches, and this one is 5 centimeters, 2 inches. And but like I said, I wanted to keep the velocity that's in the hose, like for the vacuum cleaner. I wanted to keep the same velocity going into the cyclone filter, because I wanted to keep the air moving fast. Okay, I moved the camera. I took the inlet, this one, and I trimmed it off with a hacksaw, and looked at the fitting, how it fit on the cone up here. Then I kept trimming until I had the right shape I wanted. And after I had the shape I wanted, I went in with a marker and I marked on the cone. And then you want to go a little bit smaller on the cone, because that's why I have so much silicone. I cut out a little bit too much, just a little bit, but it wasn't really to my liking. But I only had one cone, so I had to live with it. And then I took a jigsaw, I cut it out, and then I shaped it to form as it's going in. So you want to cut into the cone that it's fitting into the cone very nicely. Yeah, that's how I did that part. Then I cut the cone out. Like I said, I put this clamp on here because I wanted to keep it strong. I didn't want it to move, because it's basically just silicone holding it here. It's touching the cone on the inside. I mean, it's cut out. It's pretty close, but it's not as close as I'd like to have it. Maybe sometime in the future, if I can get another traffic cone, I'll make another one, and improve on it a little bit. And like I said, then I cut that out, fit it in there. I put the clamp on it. I first had a zip tie here, rod here, and then I put this on here and got it in there at the right height I wanted, and then it's pretty strong. Of course, I had to do some video editing because you couldn't see what was going on up here. Like I said, the rods was a plan later to put another piece of plywood here, and use the rods again like I did down here to hold it and to keep it stable. But I decided against it because I used this piece here. I cut it off to make an adjustable rod here for the hose, the inlet clamp going in. Because at first I had it more at an angle going downward, and so but I wasn't sure if it was helping or not. So if it was the right adjustment, so I adjusted it more, a little more straight. And then so I used that for that, and then so I just used these cutouts here for to hold in the outlet pipe, which is a little bit bigger, and so it holds it pretty stable. I'm satisfied with it, and holds it at 90 degrees. So I'll probably wind up cutting the other three off, or maybe this one. I might trim it off a little bit. I'm not sure. But right now I'm satisfied with how it works, so I'm just going to leave it like it is. Another thing I want to say, that this angle, and you want the inlet air to come out, that it comes onto the cone directly, not that it has like a jump or something. I think it might mess up the circulation inside if you have it more going to the middle, or I try to get it as flat as possible to the side of the cone, so the sawdust coming in is really hitting the cone at once, and then doing this circular pattern, which it starts circulating and then going down into the collection bin down there. Thinking about later to put a big piece of plexiglass here to cut out a little hole in the top, and so I can see what's going on inside. But it just screws on. So I can screw it off. I'm doing it with one hand and holding the camera with the other, so if it's a little, yep. That's stuff I collected over a little while, and there's a view from the bottom. Can we get a good view of that? Like I said, I have 4 screws in the handle pieces, plus I put, just for strength, 4 more screws around, and it's also silicone. And if you can look up in there, I don't know, I can't see what I'm doing. That's how it looks from the inside. So that's how it looks from the bottom. You might get some kind of other container to use, I don't know, but that's what I have. Like I said, this thing was a trial and error, and At first I just had the top and the bottom, and I had the this piece I think was in here first, or this one, I can't remember, but the first trial, because here was open, this one was missing. Yeah, that was it. This one was missing at first, and I had no silicone. It was sucking in on 3 sides, and I had like a triangle in this piece. So I had to take it back apart and remove the bottom and this one, and I put the middle piece in there. That's why it's a little thinner. The outlet goes down just past the inlet here, because I didn't want it to be sucking in directly into. I wasn't sure how to build it, so but it turned out pretty good. At first I had this more angled down, going more in a downward motion. I don't know if that was having something to do with it sucking in at first, so I adjusted it more, a little more level. It still has a little bit of downward incline going in, and but I still had a problem after I made this level in here. I still had a problem. It was sucking in on one side completely, like the halfway part. And then so I had to turn it back off. Luckily the comb popped back out to where it's supposed to be. Then I took some silicone that I had left over, and I siliconed around, you know, every level. That's still the white silicone, the original at the top, and then I siliconed the top and bottom on every level, and yes, it now it works pretty good, and it doesn't suck in anymore. But instead of putting the level at the top here, another piece of wood, I just cut out here 2 pieces of wood that I had left over, and made with a V cut inside, and it's strong enough. It's straight 90 degrees. This one is thicker, a PVC pipe, than the inlet. I kept the inlet about the same size as the hose for the vacuum cleaner. I didn't want the air to slow down going in to the cyclone, so I didn't want any sawdust maybe building up and standing here inside the inlet pipe, and wanted the inlet air going in faster than the outlet air. So having a bigger one here, and then going down and to the smaller one again. So here I can plug in directly here. I can plug into the vacuum cleaner hose. I didn't want to mount it to my vacuum cleaner at the top of my vacuum cleaner, because I wanted to be able to keep my vacuum cleaner mobile if I wanted to take it all to vacuum the car out, or you know, it's a wet dry vac. Here's my vacuum cleaner. It's a wet dry vac, and so I can use it if I have water in the washing machine room for my wife. If some water comes in there or something, I can vacuum it out. So this is completely usable. Whereas if you mount it on top of it or something like some other people do, or make it with all together, it's pretty much stranded in your wood shop. So this one is it's a pretty powerful one. It's 1800 watts, and it sucks as per the papers on it, and in the description, it sucks 80 liters a second. So it's pretty powerful. Like I said, I just plug in the hose here. It plugs in right in here. So, and I just shove it into it's tight, and so it's pretty tight. I mean, I don't get no air loss here around here. But here I got a Y junction. I put a cap here so I can work on my my workbench here if I'm doing any routing, or with my my jigsaw here. I can just take the cap off and connect the hose from my jigsaw to here. Then I go at the other end of this one and put a cap in it, and then I have the suction here, and then the other end goes to my goes along the ceiling, and I have it coming down. Well, and I have it coming down here with this hose. It's a very stretchable hose. It goes from a couple of meters to about 7 or 8 meters, and it goes into my table saw. I can remove it here. No, then I can connect the other piece from the vacuum cleaner, and I can vacuum the floor with it, what flies around here, and stuff like that. Or I can take this out here, of course, then put my cap in when I want to work at my workbench, cutting wood or whatever. And yeah, these caps I can get for the PVC too, at the construction, oops. So at the hardware store. So that goes along the ceiling and goes down into the vac. So here's my table saw. And what I did, I have underneath, I have this, it's actually a garden bag for collecting garden leaves or whatever. And my saw, it has the hose going in from the back, and but you get a lot of stuff it doesn't collect because it throws out between here where the adjustment knobs come through, and the adjustments are for the tilt of the blade and stuff like that. Plus a lot of stuff comes, I wouldn't say, I would say maybe 20% of the sawdust falls down through the bottom. So I took the plate off the bottom. I don't know if you can see this with the camera. No, there's not enough light, but a lot of stuff falls down, and I put this bag under here. It's a garden bag, and it's spring loaded, so it fits up, goes up underneath, and I use it to collect the stuff that falls down, so I don't have a big pile of dirt, I don't have a big pile of sawdust under my table saw all the time. So one time I had about 2 inches of sawdust in here that has fallen down over the times I've been cutting, over the weeks or months or whatever. And then I took my hose and with my new vacuum filter, cyclone filter, I sucked it all out, and then I got some blow by on my the filter, because what I think was going on is that here, because I have it's sucking and spinning so much, and it's collecting, and that was sucking a lot at one time. Before it could fall down, it was building up. Probably was very thick, and some stuff was getting sucked into my my outlet pipe going down to my vacuum. Then I wasn't running a bag at the time. I just had the filter inside, the round filter, and that you use when you like wet vacuuming or whatever. And it was well, it didn't have a lot of blow by, but it was a little bit. I didn't like it because it was going to stop up my filter very fast. So I put the bag back in, and now I check the bag every now and then. But I think it was just I overloaded the cyclone filter before. I overloaded it and got some blow by. Like I said, the bag stays empty now, and that's the main point, because the bags are pretty expensive. If I wasn't using the filter, the cyclone filter I made, I would probably be changing out my bags probably every 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, because of, you start losing the suction power now. Okay, they're pretty big bags that are in there. I don't know, probably could go a month, but still, I don't feel like paying. I don't feel like paying for 15 or 20 euros for 4 or 5 bags. Why? For you guys who can't afford the Dust Deputy, which I think, from what I've seen on from reviews on YouTube and stuff, it's very good. I wish I could afford it. I wish I could get it over here. I mean, but it runs like 75 euros, and then they want shipping to it, probably running around 120, 130 euros for that, and I don't see it. So that's why I built that. I probably spent about maybe without without my tubing, because it's up to you how much the PVC pipe you need. But just with the inlet and outlet pipes and the rods and stuff like that, probably come out with 15 rows. Now, of course, you can buy the street cone. You can buy the street cone. You can buy it on the traffic cone. You can buy it on eBay. The container, the collection bin, depending on which one you get, that's extra cost. So I hope this video helped you. I'm just rambling on here, but if you need more detailed how to build it, let me know. I can try to draw up some plans, but I think it's pretty much self-explanatory. I mean, if you're any a little bit of good with your hands, and if you already work with wood, I'm sure you can figure that out, how I did it, and you know, or maybe make your own adjustments. If you can make it better, let me know, and maybe I'll make mine better from your ideas. So YouTube friends and friends of Woodworking from Your Mortals, thanks for watching. Again, like I said, this is my first video, instructional video, and if I do any more, maybe I'll get better, maybe not. Have a nice day.